3. For those of you who don't know, welcome. Part 3, we are now dealing with the things I found to be a problem in these 4. Let's start with the basics. We'll start off with pro side, Adze. Adze, on record, you did very well. Everything you said was clear and concise. Had no problem with your shit. You're good to go. So you're clear. So to fill this space, I was thinking about talking about the whole age of characters and all that, you know, the 10,000-year-old dragon that people love to bring up for some fucking reason. If you really want to worry about that, go back to part 2, where we talked about the 3 tiers of consent: age, height, and face. Yeah, most lolly bodies by default fail number 2, the height. Just by default. So normies are going to say, oh, you're a pedophile for liking it. By default, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if the lolly has big tits or not. Doesn't matter if they have birth-giving hips or not. It doesn't matter. They fail the height of consent. So, no. And if it's anime, they fail the face of consent by default. So, no. That's just how normies see it. Sorry. This is why the normies also have this issue with, say, gnomes in World of Warcraft, Lolicon in Final Fantasy XIV.
All right, yeah.
What rot! Though I did have sufficient motive, 'tis true. That young lady caused me no end of grief. She always was a most unwilling puppet. I dare say her grace was grateful that someone thought to cut her strings.
What the fuck? Just kill him.
You would mock her, then mock her from hell!
What?
Ha ha ha! Yes! Yes, dude! Fuck yes, man! That's how it's done!
It doesn't matter if the gnome is chromy. It doesn't matter if the Lolicon happens to be some dude that gets chopped in half. It doesn't matter that they're part of a crime syndicate or any other kind of syndicate. It doesn't matter, because to them, age consent no longer matters. It's only height of consent and the way they appear. Yeah. Have fun with that. That's where the antis and the normies are. Now, Devil will try to defend it and go, it's also their mentality. No, stop. You know damn well that doesn't even remotely matter. Chromie acts like an adult 90% of the time. Yet, people still go, that's a kid. Height of consent overrides it. Nice try, though. I appreciate it. But, at least Devil's consistent. I'll give him that one. He's consistent in his version, so I'll give him that. Punctuation point. Punctuation point's error isn't exactly the video where they speak upon it. No. Their major error comes from the beginning and the end of their video, where they're using movie clips.
To deny our own impulses is to deny the very thing that makes us human.
No matter how much I try, I can't find anything laudable in pedophilia.
But that's because you think about the perhaps 5% who actually hurt children. The remaining 95% never live out their fantasies. Think about their suffering. Sexuality is the strongest force in human beings. To be born with a forbidden sexuality must be agonizing. The pedophile who manages to get through life with the shame of his desire while never acting on it deserves a bloody medal.
And even the beginning one isn't as bad, but that ending one, well, let's just say it hits a lot of the same talking points as what Asalieri threw the flag on with Miriam Haim and her TED Talk. For those of you who don't know, I'm guessing that's the right name. I'm hoping that's the right name, but I'll put that clip up there soon enough so you know what I'm talking about.
Vouch to replace that term that Miriam Hein was so keen to defend in her ridiculous TEDx talk.
Yeah, that. Miriam Hein's TED Talk was about pedophilia. Oh, the pedophiles aren't bad, it's just a sexuality to them, yada yada, blah blah blah. They should be given a gold medal for not acting on it, this, that, and the other. You get that idea. Pretty much it's the same general talking points as the movie clip that Punctuation Point put at the end of his video. Bad news, Punctuation Point. Most adults don't see kids that way. Most adults see kids as idiots. A ball bounces into the road, the kid runs out, and whammo, street pizza. So we watch kids to make sure they don't do something stupid, like a fork in a light socket. Like chasing a giant fucking bear. Like going, hey look, it's a kitty, and the skunk blasts him in the face. You get what I'm getting at, right? The reason why adults watch kids is to make sure they don't do something stupid, not Epstein time. Next up, we shall deal with Asalieri and his cute little story. This.
No one is getting hurt by them tuning their fork to A minor, right? Right? Well, consider first the intention of the creator or creators of that character. When you take what is supposed to be a run-of-the-mill child character in a show that has nothing to do with sex, and then you suddenly hypersexualize that character, are you not destroying the integrity of the product and therefore hurting the people who lovingly created that character? What if, say, a parent that would have normally, under any other circumstances, bought, say, a Pokemon lunchbox of Misty for their kid who loves Pokemon, right? And they first ran into your disgusting Rule 34 pic of her. Now, do you think that would forever be a lost customer for the creator? Yes, it would! My disabled child loves My Little Pony, and she now knows where to search for her favorite characters. Do you think any parent would want their kids accidentally finding Rule 34 of their favorite characters? Do you think any parent that is first experiencing a popular show through your Rule 34 art will still want their kids consuming the product your Rule 34 art is based on? No! How about an artist starting out, right? Say they suddenly hit it viral with some innocent child character they created that is based, say, on their childhood experiences, and people start to love and empathize with the story they're telling. Then bam! Along comes a Lolicon and suddenly starts distributing nasty Rule 34 of their underage character, and the artist becomes so depressed by this fact that the disgusting Rule 34 is overshadowing their character and their story, and then they suddenly commit suicide as a result. You never think of that, do you, Lolicons? Lolicon art can potentially hurt parents, hurt artists, and hurt children. And worse, it normalizes the idea that it's okay to jack it to the concept of prepubescent
bad things.
And of course, you would expect things to start going down this slanderous route of making false accusations. This person says, men who consume this genre of fiction need to be investigated. If they weren't your pretty idols, you'd side-eye them or call it gross. Now, there's nothing wrong with calling these things gross. You have every right to not like some of the themes from Made in Abyss. I mean, you can not like any of them. That's your choice. It's your opinion. But it goes beyond just saying it's gross or weird. Now you're saying that they need to be investigated, which is obviously a waste of resources.
Devil point out, things like this pretty much mean nothing, because it could be applied to anything. If you don't believe me, watch Mazes and Monsters. For those of you who don't know, Mazes and Monsters was made around the time of the Satanic Panic trying to pick up. It was pretty much Hollywood saying, fuck you role players, how dare you try to do what we do. Long story short, of the movie, the summary of the movie was based on an article of a kid playing Dungeons and Dragons. and his character died, so he wound up committing suicide because his character died. The movie has the same mentality. Guy who's supposed to be going to college, supposed to be smart, winds up making a D&D character, and somehow, some way, his brain snaps. And he believes he is now this character. Which is kind of funny, because if he was the character, he wouldn't be able to use a phone. Anyway, that's the point of the movie. How D&D will rot your mind and make you think you're actually a fictional character. You know, given the whole thing on X, aka Twitter, they might have been onto something, sadly. Because a lot of people are treating fictional characters like real people, and real people like fictional characters. So, maybe that's the thing. Or maybe the education system is just failing every motherfucker. Back on point. So yeah, so that little story doesn't really hold much water. It's not admissible as evidence. A what if is not admissible as evidence. Sorry. Lastly, Devil. Y'all know, if you've seen any of my other videos, you know what's coming.
There are real children being hurt, and you're complaining about fictional characters. This is genuinely the shittiest argument that I've ever seen in defense of Loli. First of all, that's completely irrelevant to the issue, since you could literally make that argument about anything. This reminds me of when my mom would say there are children dying of hunger, and I'm here complaining about having fucking Brussels sprouts. It's like, yeah, sure, but that's not the point. I'm having trouble understanding what the people who make this point want me to do. Do you want me to form a fucking posse and knock on every single person's door asking if they're harboring a child trafficking ring? I obviously can't do that, so I'm focusing on the people who are readily available on the internet. And those people are you fucking Lolicon cucks. I'm sorry that you're so fucking in denial that you can't admit for a second that you may be in the wrong, so you have to come up with all these coping mechanisms and shitty points to try and shoo away the people who are challenging your stupid beliefs. Unfortunately, the consumption of loli porn isn't a federal crime in the US. It stands as a gray area of whether or not it can be interpreted as a crime. I was hoping that while I was researching, I'd be able to prove that loli porn would technically qualify as an equal crime to CP, but that wasn't the case due to the same terrible talking point. It's not real. It's ridiculous that I even have to explain to these people that it's probably not the best optics to come whenever you see a drawing of a little girl. But no, please come and tell me why I'm wrong for not marching on the streets hunting pedophiles in real life. Fucking morons.
I could say so many different things about this clip, so many different things. I've actually said 2 to 3 different things already, but we'll go with the common consensus I've given. Devil, shoe on head, June. One of the examples of someone who didn't go out and get a Westwood-style posse to knock on everyone's door in real life to find pedophiles. She did that shit online. She dealt with the online pedophiles that she ran across. Online. It's online. Online. Didn't have to get a real-world posse to go knock on real-world doors to find real-world pedophile rings. No one's expecting you to do that. No one. Not a single person. So the fact that you brought it up that way shows how disingenuous you're going to be with the rest of your video. Now, I'll be fair. Having covered these 4, and having said that, let me be fair on why Devil and Asalieri, the reason why they're being disingenuous is because the argument breaks down as such.
No one of Tommy's age and background could have committed this perverted and violent a crime without something to help him, yet neither alcohol or drugs played a part. What then could it have been?
Oh, you mean like mental illness, or do those not exist? Nope, definitely metal music, and metal alone caused all of this. I mean, look at how popular the music of the occult is. You can't get much more metal than the Dirty Dancing soundtrack. She's like the wind. Sounds like witchcraft to me. But remember, he's just putting this stuff out there. It's really innocent, really.
Now, I'm not saying that if you listen to heavy metal music, the devil will make you kill your mom.
Yeah, you are. Or at the least you want your viewers to think that. He blames Satan for pushing people away from God, but docs like this push more people away from Christianity than Satan does. I think he has a reply to my criticisms, though.
Now, some would say, so what? It's all just in fun. Nobody is supposed to take the message seriously. Well, that sentiment completely ignores both the nature of man and the power of music.
Take some freaking responsibility and go see a therapist.
Pro side, pretty much facts. They go based on facts. Anti side, their moral authority, their feels. So whose moral authority are we speaking on particularly? Amos Yee? Jared Fogle? Epstein? Hollywood? The music industry? The art community? The VTubers? Japanese idols? Old school 80s rockers? Whose morality are we using? Because if you're expecting people to use your morality, who the fuck are you? No, seriously, who the fuck are you? I'm called Devil online. Who cares? I'm Asalieri. Good for you! I'm punctuation point. Why? They call me Adze. Here's how much this counts. Ready? None. Whose morality do we speak upon? Now, if you're going to say normie ethics, well, then I guess your little morality doesn't equal legality works with normie ethics. But then again, these are the same normies that saw GTA, saw a violent thing happen in GTA, and then said, that person needs to be investigated in real life.
Why don't we take a look at that part of the situation now? It all starts here, unsurprisingly, once again at the hospital clip and that tweet by Joe. And you can see some posts that were deleted by the post author. This is what G-Man had responded to, and I don't know what these tweets had initially said, but G-Man says dude should be on a watch list. Someone else, Bobby, saying, like you've never done that in the game before. I never expected you to clutch your handbag regarding violence in a 15-year-old GTA game, lol. And G-Man Lives responding, saying, against the cops, yeah, I didn't go around murdering the pedestrians.
So yeah, the mob is always right. Right? I mean, at least Salem didn't prove anything against that. Or the Nazis, but you know, let's just be clear. The mob is always 100% morally correct. Mob rule never failed anyone before. Never. And you're expecting me to use their morality?